Hey guys, before we start, this podcast is normally rated NC-17, to say the least, but today we're talking to porn actor Eric Fager, so this episode is rated XXX. If there are small children or sensitive dogs present, you may want to check this one out later.
Hey guys, welcome to the Let Me Put My Pants On podcast.
Woo!
This is our 8th episode. Hey, this is the first episode that I think I've actually worn pants.
Oh, wow.
But,
And ironically so, considering today's episode.
Yeah, I'm trying to trying to hide my boner.
I'm not wearing pants. I mean, I'm wearing a skirt. But
You
I'm
need
not...
help hiding
For
it.
the record, Katie is pantsless.
Sitting with me here tonight is my lovely two co-hosts, Katie Hinckley and Jaleesa Johnson.
Hello.
Hey.
And Happy New Year, guys.
Happy New Year, Brandon.
Year. First episode of the new year, and it's starting off with a bang.
Yeah, we're interviewing one of my favorite. I mean, we only have people on the show that we really like. So
Yeah,
of
but
course
this
we
is
like them.
a great way to start, particularly. I'm really excited about this episode.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about all my favorite stuff. He's a doggy enthusiast. He's the founder of a nonprofit organization called Sex Workers Resource Network, and we'll get into that a lot more towards the end of this episode. And he's also you can find him on the Internet Adult Film Database.
Yeah.
That's a IFD, kind of like IMBD, but for porn stars.
Oh, snap.
But
And
with a lot less pants.
is it like we're all porn stars? Like even the top?
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome.
Definitely
Nice.
people with the top billing are going to have, you'll see people with, a fuck ton more fucks.
Like credits.
than me
So to speak.
on there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
okay.
That's why I was so excited to find it. I'm like, I'm a real porn
Yeah, no, that's legit.
Yeah.
Congrats.
So yeah, if you guys go to his Internet Adult Film Database profile, he's got this cute picture of him. And did I even say your name?
Not yet.
I'm
no.
sorry.
That's fine.
I'm sitting with Eric Fager. Or should I? Well, yeah, I guess we need to know both your names, huh?
Everyone should.
Well, your real name is
AKA.
Eric Fager, but your stage name, is that what you call it? Your stage name?
Screen name, stage name.
Screen name?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
It's fine.
You're under as Dusty Williams.
That's also me.
I want to know all about that. I'm looking at some of your credits. These are great. Such films as ATM, and then they got Ass to Mouth in parentheses.
In case you thought
I'm
it was
glad they
about money.
clarified. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, is there a cash dispensing Speedo?
Where do I swipe?
Oh my god, that would be a brilliant Speedo idea.
Get one of those money guns that you just put right in there, and
Katie,
once
yes.
they swipe
They just
it.
keep getting better. Twinkie and the Bear.
That's adorable.
A very gay XXX tale.
Oh my god.
That was-
That sounds like multiple beds and lots of porridge. I don't
I'm
know.
glad you included
Paint
the
the picture.
triple X. So,
I think they did that just in case there was any sort of copyright infringement, because the further away that you can get from any existing media source,
The better, right?
The better, yeah,
Yeah.
because you have to prove to the court that no one's gonna confuse the two.
Exactly.
So they couldn't do like Twinkie in the brain and not have that extra.
The argument's a little tougher in that sense.
Yeah. You certainly couldn't just do Pinky in the Brain, and then
works.
yeah,
Be like,
exactly,
they're different,
and
like
then
Vanilla
also have
Ice.
it be porn.
Yeah.
we could do a whole episode going through these titles. There's Black Fist, White Hole 1 and 2.
One
didn't
and
even
two, like
know
Kill
they-
Bill. I dig it.
Then there's Black Attack 1 and 2.
Okay.
Is there going to be a third Black Attack?
Hopefully, some of my fans.
I was asking
asked for-
Jaleesa.
Oh,
Because I wouldn't know. I love it actually. I love the idea of Black Attack, even though it does sound a bit suspicious. Like, is it a black like ambush? Like, is it I don't know. I dig it. Are you afraid in this? Like, what was your character? Like, what was the attack part of it?
so I don't know why they named it that way, but it was God. Who was the other bottom? Oh, they called me in for that one because one of the other bottoms is supposed to be two bottoms, two
Yeah.
tops, and one of the other bottoms canceled at the last minute. I'm like, I'm
Oh.
so happy that I can be there for
Right.
you. Would have been nice to be called first. I'm just
Yeah.
saying. And then so I get there on set, and they have me chained up to the wall, which cuckolding isn't really my thing to
Okay,
begin with. But
right.
I'm watching him, and my co-star, the other bottom there, is just huffing poppers just to take the smaller of the two black gentlemen who was
Wow, just to get through it.
just to get through it. And so I was a little bit scared. Like
Yeah.
I think I had ripped recently, but I had
No, wait, so you did
mostly-
feel attacked. That's where the,
yes,
the fear
yeah.
comes.
They're attacking him on the inside.
It makes sense now. I'm glad we got to the
It was-
bottom of
yeah.
that.
Hey, wait a minute.
It
You
was-
said cuckolding?
Yes.
What's that?
Cuckolding is a style of porn where someone is watching their partner with someone else who's generally speaking supposed to be more hung, more masculine, more whatever, for whatever reason better. And that's like I'm all about three ways. I'm all about everyone playing.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I even talk to couples where like, well, if they do just want to watch, I would rather that than them not be there at all.
Yeah,
With that, like
100%.
I'm very big on like the playground mentality and like let's all
Absolutely.
play, kids.
That's
Everyone's a
nice.
winner.
I love it. Yeah. Very healthy. I dig that.
Yeah, but this was not that. This was literally just me chained to a wall watching someone who was not me get fucked, which
Oh
is
my goodness.
pretty terrible.
Yeah, well, you have good days and bad days.
What a Monday.
Yeah.
Right.
But you showed up, man.
I showed
Props.
up. I finally did get unhooked from the wall.
Okay.
I
And you made it here.
I started taking the one guy's dick, the smaller of the two,
Mm-hmm.
and smaller, of course, is only relative in this because they were both massive.
Yeah,
And he felt great. No need for poppers. I was like, I could do this all day.
Okay. Yeah.
And then
Ripped and all already.
Yeah, well, I had mostly
Safety
healed
first.
up.
Okay.
Yeah, so then the other guy comes in and he's even bigger and he just starts plowing me. And I'm like,
Oh,
hey,
my
I can
goodness.
take you. I just need you to slow down a little bit.
Yeah.
He's like, okay. Just kidding. And starts ramming me again.
No.
Aww.
And then I bled again.
Oh,
Wow.
And
Damn.
yeah, it was so hard. And like,
There's no
like,
nurse on site, is there?
Sadly, no. Like,
my
I
God.
literally just shoved an ice cube up my ass and to constrict the blood vessels.
You're a trooper, dude.
Was that-
Way to go.
I
That's
mean,
the secret.
Came back,
Ice
took him
cube up
again,
the butt.
Mm-hmm.
and they were like, okay, we're going to just have you come real quick, which my other party trick is coming on command.
Right. Okay. Very nice.
And then hop off and you'll just watch again. I was like, I just did that and I wasn't, okay, whatever, fine. I'm
Right.
professional, I'm getting paid. So I do that and that same huge guy starts fucking the other bottom again and just as hard and he rips a lot.
Oh no.
Like blood everywhere, have to stop the shoot.
Wow.
He can't go anymore.
That's
and so then,
intense.
yeah,
Yeah.
so then
that
they
is-
were like,
and was that like part of this, like,
no,
I was
no,
gonna
no,
say,
no.
like,
There's-
not the
not
attack
the
part. No,
intent.
not intentional.
blood is very much not
Yeah.
a thing for most. Like some studios do it, but most studios
Right.
that's
It's not the
good.
norm.
Thank God.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I was
A little
gonna
bit
say,
disturbing
like,
to
if
watch.
that was supposed to be like expected of this scene, like he was supposed to ignore your wishes, like that's one thing, but that just sounds not good.
Well, overall, would you say it was like a pretty quality production? Like you're happy with the performances?
So after he ripped and couldn't bottom anymore, they
Yeah.
were like, "Hey, Dusty, we know you already came, but can you come back and take this again?" And I was like,
Whoa.
"Hair flip, yes, of course I can."
Badass bitch.
Yeah, so I came back and I bottomed for like another hour
That's
after I'd
what's
come,
up.
and yeah, so like it was a really hard shoot, but I
Dude,
feel like a
you're
goddamn
hustler,
badass.
man.
You're a hero. I'm sorry, but how do you get so good at? I wanna be able to do that. How do you get so good at bottoming? Do you practice a lot with dildos or what?
I do. I have several. I have quite the collection.
How do you make it like more exciting? Because I have like 7 or 8 dildos, but I never use them
Whoa.
when I'm by myself. I'm
That's
like
so much
bored.
more than me, Brandon, and you have a dick. Like, you're just
Well,
greedy
it
now.
can't really like go anywhere for him.
That's
like,
fair. Or could it?
I mean,
Yeah,
you could.
I
Some
can-
people can blow themselves.
I can get the head of mine inside myself.
No way.
Just barely the head, yeah.
I
I can go fuck
Pro
myself.
status.
Can you suck your own dick?
I cannot.
Okay, I can sometimes do that,
That's
depending
wild.
on how much I've had to drink.
So I would actually like if you want to get it more into it. One, I would heartily suggest Toys Solo. That's I feel like toys are like it's actually taken me longer to get comfortable using toys with a partner than with myself.
Oh, because of the pressure of performing in front of someone else, and you're doing something so like experimental, I guess. Like you're.
I feel like toys are just very personal, like
Interesting.
which is odd for someone who has used them on camera. But
Yeah. But I do respect that, even though I think the opposite. I find that toys are like the disconnect is that they're not a person, but it's interesting to hear it from the other side because I mean this is what you do, so
yeah,
that's an interesting take. Yeah.
Personally, I mean, I was already late to the game with using any sort of toys. Like, it took me a long time to get to masturbating in the first place. But, like, the first time I ever used toys in a relationship is my current relationship. And I think it's more about, when it's in a relationship, it's more about giving pleasure to another person without receiving pleasure yourself.
Oh yeah, I can agree to that.
But when you are using it by yourself, it's a much more experimental, like understanding your body and understanding your feelings more, which can make you more comfortable and open to having different sexual experiences with partners.
Yeah,
That's
like a trial run.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like with me, myself, I don't have to worry about whether I'm doing something right for my partner and they're enjoying it. And I actually I do have a really hard time letting people do things for me.
Right.
You
still have your limits and things
I can't
like that.
get massages. I can't I have a like if I go to a restaurant and I can see where they're taking the dishes, I'll bus my own table and then start bussing tables around me and I have a really hard time. But alone, I can just focus on me and what I'm enjoying.
It's good to know what you like and how you work. That's
also
important.
I like doing that with a bottle of wine and huffing poppers till I almost pass out.
That's good broke, too. Don't fix it. Yeah,
whatever bakes your cookies, man.
Singles are pickle, man. I love it.
Okay, let's bring it back a little bit. I want to get back into your backstory. I want to know how you became Dusty Williams.
I want to know about the background of Dusty Williams. So where did you always live here, or did you?
I'm born and raised in San Diego.
Me too.
Oh my God, twinsies! I will invite you to our San Diego native brunch group. We all get together and bitch about the perfect weather.
Fuck
yes. Awesome.
Oh God, it just never changes. It's always sunny. It's so hard.
It's so hard. Another mimosa.
Yeah.
I love it.
That's awesome. So I'm assuming you started doing porn here then.
Yeah.
And how old were you, or what was your first experience like?
I'm not good with time. Sex work in general was my dream job from the time that I was 14.
Oh, that's
Really?
awesome.
Like,
You're living your dream, dude.
Yeah, at the time I wasn't even aware. I didn't think that porn was something that would ever be for me. So I was just thinking that I would be like on a street corner sucking some dick.
Whoa, like really open micing it. Like you're out there, man.
Did you start out as like a fluffer?
No, they don't. People rarely use fluffers anymore. Yeah, sorry to ruin
discovered this.
Sorry to ruin the fantasy.
Yeah, no. They don't do it. That's just Craigslist lies. Don't do it, Bethany.
Oh my God.
Don't
get taken advantage of.
Did you have to find out the hard way?
Oh, no.
It never actually happened.
It wasn't until the 10th film that...
But I've also seen these posts, and
Hey,
I'm
this
like,
thing
wow.
ain't even on.
It never actually happened. I could tell by the text messages that this mystery person.
They just want to get jerked off and
they just wanted to get a blowjob.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dude. Yeah. But are they still paying?
I didn't want to find out.
Fair enough.
I did a jerk-off video for some guy on Craigslist one time, and I was like, I don't actually care if this thing is on. I'm getting paid. I'm
dude,
not
it's like getting a gig, from just a different third party. Like,
dude, one time, a guy paid me $20 at the Eagle to pee in a cup.
Wow.
And I did it.
Yeah, why not? Well,
the ending to that story is what gets me, though.
Oh, my. Was he actually taking it to his probation officer?
That would be a better ending, honestly.
I'll never forget, because it was like a big 20-ounce plastic cup, and the cup was so warm in my hand, and I just I started drinking it as soon as I had it. I just left, so I just started gagging immediately. But hey, $20.
Have you never pissed in someone's mouth before?
It was just different seeing him drinking from a
Not
container.
How many times have you?
I mean, maybe a little bit in the shower, but
what?
It's just pee, Jaleesa.
It's sterile.
Okay.
No judgment.
So, what was your childhood like? How did you become so sexually liberated? Did you grow up religious?
Not particularly. My papa was friends with the Mormon Church, and my mom was recovering Catholic or something.
That's great.
Two groups of very sexually oppressed people.
But I don't think I was. We never talked about sex in my house.
Mm-hmm.
And what's really weird is that at 14, as soon as I was sort of aware that boys existed, I was like, I would love to get paid to suck some dick.
Because your favorite thing, why not?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Got to get a job. So, and then at some point between 14 and my first husband at 19, I developed, I guess, a whole host of sexual issues. I was really, really repressed.
Yeah. It can do that to you. It'll make you kind of reach your breaking point, right?
Yeah. And then I sort of went the opposite direction because we were completely monogamous.
Yeah.
And at 24, I broke up with him because I wanted to go live my best hoe life.
Mm-hmm. Which you're entitled to.
Well, I was like, look, I mostly bottom, and these are prime years for that. Mm-hmm. So
you gotta live it, man.
I need to get out there.
Right. And it's never easy to break up with someone for hope purposes?
No, and he was brokenhearted.
It
He was
had to be
so
done,
he was
yeah.
crushed. We're like besties now.
Shout
That's
out.
good. Yeah.
That's good.
So
Do a
how-
lot of guys you try to date get jealous that you do this stuff? Like, you,
Yes.
I imagine you got to be like really upfront about it from the get go, right?
I am 100% upfront with anyone that I even start to get
Nice.
interested in, and I'm a giant lesbian, so I end up falling in love
Yeah,
every week.
dude.
So I make sure that I tell everyone. Plus, like, I post my scenes to Facebook, so that's fine.
Well, now I gotta watch. Brandon said we should. I said no at
Hey, I was
first.
just doing my research, you guys. I want a good
Research.
interview.
Yeah, I've done my research too.
Yeah, teacher's pet.
That's why I'm wearing pants.
I've noticed. Yeah, I did notice that you got banned from Facebook. So you're talking about it on Facebook. How many times have you been banned?
You got a lot of attention from saying you're going to be unbanned, so people were waiting for you.
My adoring fan base, finally.
We're just tongues hanging out, waiting at the doorstep, like,
Hashtag where's Dusty?
yeah, right.
I would love that. I've been banned probably 6 or 7 times.
What?
I think. Yeah.
Both
and-
profiles too, because you got your Eric Fager profile and then you got your Dusty Williams profile.
Nice.
Yeah.
And both are like, he posts one thing and it gets like hundreds, if not thousands, of likes.
No
he's-
way.
His social media game is on fire.
What?
He's way more popular than everybody
But I
in this
don't-
room
Combined.
combined.
I don't know how to work the social media thing.
It just
I
happens sometimes?
Yeah, like I will post a picture if I'm
Oh.
happy with the shirt that I'm wearing or something like that, and
Yeah.
like people tend to react well to
Because
it,
they like
which
seeing
is
the guy
nice.
behind the scenes. I'm
Yeah.
guessing like it's like getting
Well,
personal to the
I
artist.
have heard that people really like how open I am with my life,
That's
which
good.
is great
Yeah.
because I made a sort of deal with myself a very long time ago that I would be as open as legally possible.
I love it,
with
yeah.
everything, the good, the bad, the whatever.
Absolutely.
So like anytime
You're living your truth.
Yeah, when I got my Wet and Reckless back in 2009, like I posted that to Facebook, and
Nice.
it's a good way to sort of take. There are people in this world who would love to have something to hold over you.
Yeah, always.
And if you don't have any secrets, there's nothing.
There's
for them
no
to,
power that you gotta
no
just
power there.
bear all. Dude, I love that.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's great advice. I'm kind of the same way. Because when you do something stupid, like I've done something stupid, you just gotta like own it, and
We're
you'll
all
get over
flawed.
it.
We're all
all-
human. That's what I love
100%.
about my idols, and you being one of them is honestly just like how humanizing that is. Like just owning your flaws and
Yeah.
almost embracing them to a degree, because you don't want to like repeat regrets. But if there's something about you that's just not quite right with the rest of the world, that doesn't mean it's the worst thing. It's just your vice, the way you like to live your life. Where I like to smoke a lot of weed. Some people consider that a flaw. Whatever. I love weed.
So there's a great like bumper sticker, and there's a great sticker, whatever. It says, "Sometimes I wrestle with my demons. Sometimes we just snuggle." There's a big, so you can
Yes.
say, "Okay,
Yeah.
I have these things about myself," and you can sort of, I think, being so public with them also helps you own them, because a
Yeah,
lot of
it's a
people that I
mirror.
know refuse to even
Reflect.
they acknowledge them even to themselves.
Yeah,
and it's a
yeah.
problem.
Well,
So
why do you
true.
keep getting banned on Facebook?
Probably because it's so real.
Yeah, because I was too
People
real.
People can't handle the truth. Like, they can't.
Who's flagging you, jealous bitches?
I have no. So unfortunately, it never tells you who flags you.
Ah.
I do think, even though people who work at Facebook say this is definitely not the case, I think at a certain point of number of flags, Facebook will occasionally just like peek in and make sure you're still on the straight and narrow.
Oh, so
or-
they might be doing it sometimes.
I think so. So
Yeah.
when I first started posting my scenes to Facebook, it was fine with like a link as long as I removed the preview.
Okay.
Because those obviously did get flagged, and
Right.
Facebook was like, "No, you're cool, man. You're totally fine. Don't worry about it."
Yeah.
And then lately, they've been getting. Like their community guidelines are still unusably vague, but they're extremely strict on enforcing these unusably vague guidelines.
Yeah, which is not very convenient for someone like
So
you. But yeah.
sometimes it'll be for a link. Sometimes it'll be to a Twitter link. Other times I literally just sent my friend over Messenger, mind you,
Yeah.
a link to a modeling application. No preview, no salacious words, no.
And you'll find yourself banned.
That's
or...
what got me banned last time.
Wow.
So
Seriously.
yeah, so I don't know, and I don't know what.
How long
Crazy.
usually? Is
I
it
was
the
gonna say,
same?
what happens when you
So
get
the
banned?
the first time you get banned, it's they just remove the post. That's your warning.
Okay.
The second time, it's a 3-day ban, and then it's a 1-week ban, and then it's 30 days each time from then on out.
And
then
then, so, oh my gosh, so
30
you are kind of in prison.
I was gonna say it's like Facebook jail.
Can
Like,
you be
Yeah.
banned so many times and then be banned forever?
I think they eventually. I don't know what Facebook will delete your account for, but I might find out this year. 2018's the year,
Let me
y'all.
know. No, I had a banned or a deleted post by Facebook once. It didn't ban me, but it was like you can save 15% on car insurance by committing suicide or something like that. And I know it's a bad joke. It's not even a joke. But yeah, they immediately were on top of that. So they're out there.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever had a post taken down, but I've definitely had comments deleted by Facebook.
Really?
Yeah, usually when I threaten violence against somebody.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I'm gonna come to your
Things
house
that
and
would-
fucking kill you.
Sensitive stuff. Yeah.
I just saw on Facebook, like on mobile, like these little dots show up where I can just choose to delete people's comments when I want.
Yeah. You know what? I
And
just
didn't-
remembered what
like, before you had to like save and click and like do all these things. Like, why
Right.
do you want to
Enter the
delete this?
password.
But I was just like, boop boop. Oh shit!
Yeah.
I just deleted my friend's meme. Sorry, I didn't know what was gonna happen.
Friendship over.
You know, she was so offended.
the comment, I just remembered. It was a comment when I'm like, oh yeah, let's fucking meet somewhere in public. I'll kick your ass.
Okay, Brandon.
I'm sorry. I know I'm not, but God, people piss me off online.
Yeah, the internet's
People
a very
are-
big place. You're gonna run into some haters.
Yeah, I'm in an argument right now in the comment section on.
You need help?
that
Tag me in, bro.
still-
Like,
Is
I'm
that
back on
still
Facebook for
the
now.
Nazi that you were in a fight with earlier.
No, I'm
Okay,
fighting
good.
with some new Nazi. Always.
Different
There are so
Nazi,
many.
different day.
New year, new Nazi.
I pissed them off too, so it's
There's give and
endless.
take.
Yeah.
It's.
Yeah, it's a revolving door.
I want to come back real quick to partners, because as a sex worker, it is really hard, and I'm super open with everyone. And unfortunately, most of the partners I've had were dependent on me in some way or another, and I feel like they probably weren't even comfortable telling me
That they were uncomfortable.
I have this issue.
Yeah.
Like,
That's a real thing, yeah.
I mean, there's not a whole lot that I could do about it,
'Cause it's
even
your
if-
life.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm so upfront to begin with. I'm like, if
Right.
you don't want to date someone who's a sex worker, that's okay, fine. Like,
Yeah. But when they omit that, like
yeah, they're like,
feeling-
no, I swear I'm fine, and then they act out in other ways. Like
Yeah.
that's been
It's tough.
incredibly common.
I think that they, probably they're just like, well, he's so open, I should be more open. But you can't change your truth. Like,
They wanna try.
if you're not comfortable with it, that's okay. Just
Yeah,
tell me.
that is fine. Like not everyone's
They
there,
might not even
and
know in the beginning. It might just be a gradual thing. But it does suck that that's a common problem for you.
Yeah.
I had a partner. He has since apologized, so I want to get that out of the way to begin with.
Okay,
But
yeah.
he had once told me that it was not possible to cheat on a sex worker, and I was like,
Whoa. It's like saying that
motherfucker,
lesbians
hold my
can't
wig.
cheat on
Yeah,
like,
like-
yeah.
That's like saying that
touchy,
you're
yeah.
less than,
it was like one of, like I'm not, like, words don't generally hurt me. I don't give a fuck, but like it was a
One of
like
the few
water in
things
the
that got
water
to
in the
you.
face moment.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
whoa.
That's
We all have our triggers, and I think that's a really understandable one. It's pretty messed up. But I'm glad he apologized. And a lot of people may have that idea, like, oh, you can't cheat on a stripper, or you can't
Well,
cheat on this and that.
That's something that always baffles me about people who shame sex workers or, girls who do cam work or strippers or any of that. It's like, you're watching it. You tuned in to fucking watch that, and yet you're gonna call her, like, really?
'Cause to some
She's
people-
capitalizing on your
Yeah.
fucking horniness.
Some people use sex, and unfortunately so, as a way to get out like really dark things sometimes. And I don't find myself in this position, but like I've certainly seen it. It's just some people, like, they look at things and they I guess don't simply have like a sexual intention behind it. It's sometimes like an emotional trip. So when it comes to people like bashing sex workers and strippers,
Almost like a...
it's a power trip. It's like, I'm better than you. Nothing to do with sex, even.
Like
it's
a
just
trigger?
like, just let me put you down for whatever you have for me to put you down for.
Well,
It's
they're
just
not
ridiculous.
better. Why are there so many people that like watching porn, but like those same people will simultaneously like try to shame sex workers? Like, why do you think there are so many like hypocrites out there with that internal struggle inside them?
I think a lot of it has to do with the puritanical roots that our country comes from.
Yep.
And so these same people are probably trying to figure out a way for themselves a way to cope really internally with masturbating to us.
Yep.
But still maintain that, oh, sex is bad. And so as long as they're at least publicly
shaming it, it balances out
exactly
somehow.
in their brain somehow.
Yeah. Well, and what I personally think is just like I used to study a lot of like sociology and psychology and stuff, and like that was always something that like baffled me, was like, how can you be so into something and yet hate it so much? And
Like
because
womenizers, you know?
Yeah,
they
and
love
it's-
fucking women, but they hate them, you know?
because they think of them as less. Like,
That's
they
what it boils
think,
down to.
Yeah, there's no respect. There's no, like, they don't even view them as regular humans.
Right, in
They're,
that
like,
community,
humans
yeah.
who had to do this to bring themselves down to this. And, like, to be perfectly honest, I think that's one of the most important conversations that society needs to start having. is
Absolutely.
being like, it is okay to like watching porn.
Yeah.
It is okay to do porn.
To
It
make
is-
money off of it.
to make money off of it and capitalize on being open with your sexuality and doing what is fun for you. Now, if someone is trafficked and forced into that thing, then that's fucking awful.
That's like
I mean,
slavery. It's like it doesn't mean
and that's
working
a problem
is
that
bad.
needs,
you know?
yeah.
Is it?
Capturing someone.
Is
Is it
bad.
true? Is it true that the reddest states watch the most gay porn?
Like
in the South?
I think so. I haven't.
They say like the Bible Belt and gay porn go hand in hand. Like I read a statistic posted by I think Pornhub. I should.
I've seen those graphics too, and I think what it is that, like, you know, ebony will come up a lot in the red states because there's a lot of racism or something. I think it's just like the more deprived you are, like you were saying earlier, Eric, is that the more you'll seek it out in private. So like
They're gonna make it more dangerous. For
exactly,
themselves.
yeah. But I bet there's like still a shit ton of people watching ebony porn or, you know, like all that stuff out here too. It's always fun to pick statistics that, like, you know, help us see the other side. It's not a bad graphic or an untrue graphic, but it's pretty one-sided. It's like that's just because they're probably like not so open about it, so it's more clickbaity to discuss it, which is fine. I think it's cool if we call out, you know, racist people that like watching black. I think that's a fine topic. But yeah, I'm sure you'll have the same thing in California.
How are you so confident? Like, you make me want to. You make porn seem like so much fun. Like, I want to do porn. Like, fuck comedy, dude. I'm not making any money doing comedy. There's money in porn. Can I do porn with you?
You're not going to make that much money in porn.
Unless you're really...
Unless you're...
It's a talent, right?
I mean, some of it's a talent, and then a lot of it is also genetics.
Very shallow industry, like Hollywoodish, like...
Yes. Like, that's one of the nice things about the industry having expanded as much as it has, is that it's really broadened the
inclusivity, like
the types that are acceptable to
absolutely
be on
diversity,
film. Yeah, which is stellar. I think it's one of the most amazing things.
Yeah.
I'm not actually that confident. I'm really hoping, like, I don't watch most of my scenes because most of the companies don't give me access to them.
No way.
But yeah, I haven't seen.
That's why you're doing your own, right? So we'll get to that.
Partly. But two, like, I get into my head a lot when I'm on set. And one of the things that I'm hoping, one of the reasons that I'm really glad to be doing porn is I'm hoping to help people who are in a similar boat and maybe have those kinds of insecurities feel better about themselves.
Yeah.
And because I think representation really matters.
That's amazing. Oh,
yeah.
And I don't want to like pull at your strings too much, but what's some of the insecurities that like cross your mind, or like maybe you've gotten over, you know, that you want to...
I haven't gotten over any of them.
So just in general,
So I don't like my body hair.
Really?
Like, I like my beard. It's lovely.
Yeah.
You're a scruffy guy.
Yeah, I'm a big furball. I really desperately wanted to be a twink for a very long time.
Even though so many people love the hairiness, you personally prefer the
I
twink stuff.
would prefer to be smooth. I'm
Interesting.
very, like, when it comes to my partners,
Yeah.
I have, like, twinks and bears and daddies
Like it
and
doesn't matter
grandpas.
to you,
and,
but
yeah,
your personal physique. And that's
I
interesting.
want to be
'cause-
hairless, but I only
Wow.
I literally only get hired for my fur.
Yeah.
So I kind of have to keep it.
Right, but it's also kind of weird, like, being hired for something you're insecure about, because it just, like, plays into, like, I'm just a hairy ball to you. Like,
A little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to ask about that because especially, like, you know, I've seen your body hair. I love it. It's fantastic. It's very hot, but I understand being self-conscious about it because I'm self-conscious about things that people
Right,
say
you like
are
what you
about
like
me.
and you don't what you don't, yeah.
And, like, I always feel like people who are, like, the most open to everyone else is always, like, so hard on themselves about their specifics. Like, they're like, I don't care how many times you tell me I'm beautiful or I'm hot or I'm wanted or that's the reason I'm hired.
That makes sense.
It's
You're inspiring
still-
because you're such a big critic. of yourself that like you're your biggest critic, and so you're always
But
making
you're always
yourself better in your own way, and people see the outcome but they don't see the struggle. They see that tip of the iceberg but none of the insecurities at the bottom. Yeah it's cool, but it's like it comes with it. You're absolutely right.
So I mean, do you make enough to survive, obviously, right?
There have been. I have a regular 9-to-5 day job.
Nice.
A couple people at that day job know that I'm a sex worker as well.
Cool.
I don't think it would be an issue for anyone at my company to know.
That's good.
It's an awesome thing, and it makes me feel really bad for those people who would like to do porn or even do porn, and they have to keep a very big difference between their sex worker persona and their corporate persona, because otherwise they risk getting fired.
That's shitty.
Yeah.
How do you feel about like how like anyone can do porn now? Like anybody is.
It's amazing.
You
You
like
could do
that?
porn. Yeah, I could put in a good word for you with at least a couple companies that I know, and you could be on camera this weekend.
Yeah, I was scrolling. So my favorite place to look at porn now is Tumblr, and I came across this picture I used of myself. I used to send out like 3 or 4 years ago. It's a little bit of an old picture. I feel like your nudes that you send out on these dating apps have to be taken like within the past, let's say 6 months. That's a good range, yeah? So I haven't used it in a while, but I came across it on Tumblr, and it's probably the only time I'll ever go viral in my life. But it's got like 4,000 likes.
Wow.
Notes, whatever
That's
that
awesome,
So
dude.
popular.
I know, so fun. Shut up.
I want to hear your most viral post too. Which one went? I always want to know. Go ahead, Brayden.
That's it. Yes.
Well, congrats, man.
If you can find my asshole on Tumblr, share the link
You
in the
can't miss
comments.
it.
We'll give you a shout out in next week's episode.
There you go. Yes.
Hey, and I want to know who fucking posted that. I didn't consent to that.
Someone could have honestly gotten it and then shared it to someone else as like a catfishing
It's like
scenario.
revenge thing.
Ooh,
Oh yeah.
On the topic, if no one else had a pressing thought.
It is a hot picture though. At least I've seen it on my laptop.
I have seen your nudes. Very
Let's
nice.
not go there again.
No, it makes me wonder, like, because we all have nudes, I'm sure. And I have nudes that I've shared with people that I don't talk to anymore. And I'm like, what happens one day if those come out? Which, if all my dreams come true and I'm successful enough, someone will put it out. You can't escape that kind of, like, attention seeking. And so I just feel like I should probably leak them myself.
Make sure you're getting that money. If anybody.
Yeah. I'm gonna hold out for at least 5 years. I don't think I'm that close.
It's just like be like Facebook file.
Right? Oops, how did this get here?
Oh no.
Yeah. We'll see. But yeah, I always wonder.
I think we're living in an age where it's not necessarily that's not a career killer. Like maybe 20 years ago.
Jennifer Lawrence, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, her or even there have been some mainstream actors. I don't remember. Rupert Everett, is that a name? Is that a person?
Sounds like it. We'll
Sure.
buy it, yeah.
He had actually been an escort when he was much younger, and that came out. He
Wow.
was still able to
Yeah,
work.
and that's
like,
inspiring. I used to look up celebrities that used to be sex workers just to feel like it's not that big of a deal, like in terms of if people like call you out on these types of things and your like sex positivity, like it can't crush you, like you're saying. And so I think of Arnold Schwarzenegger, who did porn. I think of Cameron Diaz, and there's a few more, but they're out there and they're still like
Kim Kardashian.
Oh yeah, one of the biggest. One of the biggest. And of course, it's a shallow industry, so I know that a lot of it is just how gorgeous she is, but it's also just like people can do whatever they want now, and like you said, certain things will not be held against them the way they used to. So I guess it's kind of an irrational fear, but it's been a big fear of mine. Yeah, I'm having an epiphany right now.
We
I'm
can
like,
talk through
yeah,
this.
it's gonna be okay. I'll leave them tonight. You'll be the first one. I'll get banned for it probably.
Probably. I've gotten kind of paranoid about it actually at this point.
Aw.
I don't know, because I like letting people know, hey, I've got a new
it's funny.
scene out, watch it if you...
Yeah.
I have a cousin who is a big fan of mine, and I'm really excited about that.
No way.
Yeah.
That's an
Actually,
interesting thing.
My mom has even seen my work at this point, which
Wow.
is... Yeah,
Oh my
we
God.
had a very... we did not have that kind of open relationship when I was much younger, and then...
And all of a sudden, it's just
Yeah, well, she got wind of some of my... Because I also do, regular modeling, and she got wind of some of
Right.
those.
okay.
And then I
The
think
rabbit hole.
But
Yeah,
why?
so to speak.
Did she want to see it? Like,
I don't think so.
could she have just heard about it? Like,
She's
I
proud.
don't know.
Probably, right?
I would hope so.
That's
She's
awesome.
proud of she is proud that I'm living the life that I want to lead.
Because she
That's
knows it's what you really want.
She knows that I'm happy doing
That's
it.
good.
Yeah.
That's all that matters.
That's
Yeah,
the most
exactly.
important thing from a parent is just support. They don't have to agree with it, but they have to support you.
I don't need
Right.
her to be happy that I'm doing sex work. I need her to be happy that I'm happy.
Yes,
Exactly. And that you're
100%.
safe and that's
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're doing what you want to do, I think. Do you like doing porn, right?
I love doing porn.
Okay.
Doing porn has been amazing for me. There was a time when I didn't have a regular day job and I was just a sex worker. Or I should say sex work is all I was doing. I've never been just a sex worker.
Was there ever like a time where you wanted to walk away from it, or do you ever feel like quitting?
No. No, I will quit when they drag my cold dead body off,
Oh my God,
off the
that's-
set.
Oh,
Like,
I'm so sorry, guys. Sorry. Yeah, no, I think that's amazing because that's how I feel about comedy, and that's how anybody should feel about whatever they're doing. I
whatever
think.
art
Yeah,
you're producing.
just don't let anyone take it away from you. Like the Me Too movement, Dave Chappelle mentioned this in his new special, like how some of the women said that the Louis thing made them like leave their dreams of doing comedy.
So
which
unfortunate.
very, very sympathetic to, obviously. But also, I would never let someone take that away from me. I'm not saying it wouldn't be easy to get back on the wagon, but like,
You don't let
them take it away from you.
Don't let them have that
don't give
power.
them that power.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's literally why they do it. Is to have power over
To make sure
someone,
you're
to make them
voiceless, you're opinionless,
to feel
you're
useless,
just a thing for
like-
them to stick it in, like
or shake it at,
or jerk it off.
yeah,
you know, like
or lock them in
you're,
an NBC
you're basically a bop it to them.
office.
you're a twist
Twist it, spin
spin
it.
it, flick
Flick
it.
it, bop it.
Don't be a bop it.
Don't be a bop.
Is there a story behind Dusty Williams? Where did that name come from?
Dusty is my middle name, my real legal middle name. It's not Dustin, and people call me Dusty for short. It is Dusty.
That's cool.
Which yeah, it's like the coolest middle name.
Yeah, it works
anyone's
out.
ever had. Basically, and then William was actually my papa's legal first name, so it's sort of
Okay.
my homage to him.
Cool.
I
So
don't.
it's not like anything crazy sexual. It's just your name.
It's
That's
my name.
awesome.
And that's yeah,
really sweet.
I love it. I like it at least as much as I like
Yeah.
my actual legal name.
It's authentic, and I like that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Do you consider yourself a porn star, or does that
No.
no?
No.
Does that even mean anything anymore? Does anybody
Kim
can be
ruined
porn
it.
It's arguable, and the people's definition of what constitutes a porn star varies wildly.
It's subjective, right?
Yeah. For the most common sort of accepted definition I've heard is that you have to have won an award or at least been nominated, which I still haven't. Crying.
I'll vote for you. I have
Yeah,
no
I
juice.
appreciate
I'll
that. Yeah, I
submit.
don't know how you even get nominated for anything.
Or do a campaign like the Oscars.
God knows I've been sucking enough dicks, but apparently the wrong
Whose
ones.
dick do I have to suck?
I always joke that that's how I finally passed the bars. 'Cause you don't know who the graders are, so I was like, I know they're all in San Francisco, so I'm just going to suck every dick there.
There you go. It's
and
like Secret
hope
Shopper
for the
or
best.
something. That's great.
Do you have any?
That was perfect.
Have there been any memorable like horror stories on set, or have you ever botched a douche? Because I do that all the time.
I have all the time. That's good to know. So you're going to talk in our
Read
scene.
the box.
I'm in a, guys are always rushing me. Like, hurry up, what are you doing in the shower so long? It's like, what do you think I'm doing? I'm cleaning my ass out. Do I have to say it? Like, I'm douching. Jesus.
I've never botched a douche on set. And it's happened, I can count the number of times outside of film that I've ever had an issue.
Wow, you're a professional.
Dude, seriously, yeah. That's been established, Brandon.
Is that why I'm on here? But I had Black Attack, which was a near miss in terms of blood.
Right.
And then there was another time I lost a scene because I couldn't stop bleeding.
Wow.
And that was just
Oh no.
pain aside, like not even physically.
Just
that was
disappointing.
I hate disappointing people.
Yeah, dude.
Like I'm a
Like
pleaser. I like
canceling
making
a
people
date,
happy.
yeah.
And it makes people very unhappy when.
Well, just the one time, you never had to do that again?
Thank God, no.
Well, that's good.
What do you do like when your ass is torn and you're bleeding everywhere? Like what do you do?
Well, you don't do the scene. If you're bleeding too much, you might be able to staunch it, like I said, with like an ice cube, or just cold water if you don't want to go that far.
How long does it take you to heal?
It depends. I ripped really badly during a gangbang once. which was not on camera, unfortunately.
Wow, just for practice.
Just for funsies.
I love it.
Just, Saturday afternoon.
It's not just a job.
The grind never stops.
Yeah. I'm dedicated to my art.
Are you ever not having sex?
He's having sex right now.
I'm gonna say someone on the
Like,
table.
okay,
Amazing.
Tuesday, we're at the table, and there's definitely blowjobs.
I know
yeah.
as soon as he's done with this interview, he's leaving to go have sex.
Absolutely. There's blood everywhere,
I
guys.
might actually go fist someone right
I
now.
was gonna say he said party, but I'm pretty sure
You're hearing orgy.
I'm hearing just like, I'm sorry, what?
I mean, like, half the parties I go to turn into orgies.
That's
so,
lovely.
Yeah.
It makes sense
cool.
that someone of your sexual stature and openness would always have
Yes.
parties that would be open to that sort of thing.
Invite
I
me,
actually,
bro.
I actually have a terrible time hooking up in person. Like if I go to a bar or something like that,
Yeah.
I can count on one hand because I can't count much higher than that. The number of times that I've taken someone home, like it's 90% of the time I'm like, you know what, this is great. I really like you. Let's find a time and we'll meet up later.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know why that is.
So you're not
I
down too much for one night stands. It hasn't been your
That's the
thing.
only way I get laid.
I much prefer the 1 hour stand.
Oh,
That's
Smart
right.
man.
lovely. I love
It's
it.
just a
Yeah,
good
more-
old fashioned fuck and go.
Yeah,
know?
like hey, come on over. Let's have some naked sweaty fun.
That's what's
Um,
up. Yeah.
yeah.
I like that.
What's the drug use like in the industry these days? Is there still a lot of drugs?
Most companies frown on you doing drugs on set. There are, again, a couple exceptions that don't care if you're high or whatever.
Right.
Steroid use is still completely rampant.
Wow.
Yeah, like I've been to shoots before where like they were filming like 12 scenes and everyone but me was on roids. And, I was
And like
this-
they're doing them
that's
in
what
real
I'm not
time.
doing.
that's one definitely.
Get with it, Brandon. No, but they're all doing it like on set kind of thing.
No, they're all just all on cycles.
Okay, and
Yeah.
you know because like I'm guessing that's a very obvious like thing.
Oh,
in the
I know
industry.
because they'll talk about it.
Oh,
Yeah, like people
is it
are pretty.
a buff thing for them in the sex industry to do roids, or is it more like adrenaline, energy, all
It's
of it?
it's a body.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think it's
Not the same as sports necessarily, like because they always do it to be
it's
tough, I guess.
well to have physical endurance and like to pump up. It like doesn't it like expand your blood?
Would a boner pill do that? The same thing, or is it something different? Like,
No, boner pills are actually also really common.
Do you take them?
Yep.
Oh.
Do you
Yeah,
take
if
them
I-
just for fun or for the scenes?
I just
for
took
Tuesday
one.
nights.
I'll take the injectable if it's available. Like,
Okay, and that's
yeah,
all like
largely
good
de-
and
Injectable.
well.
What-
Like they
yeah.
give you a little shot?
Yeah, so they will put. So there's the stuff called Trimix, which you inject into the side of your dick, and it makes you hard for.
Wait a minute.
If you can see
get
their
a shot.
face.
You get a shot in your
We
dick.
should have recorded video.
Wow, I thought it was bad
We're
when I
supposed
thought I
to.
had gonorrhea or chlamydia or something, and I had to get a shot in my ass cheek. Like,
Yeah, man.
you can get a shot in your dick too. Jesus, does it hurt?
Do they
No.
do they numb it first? Do they numb your dick at all?
No, they apply alcohol to it, and then they just take the syringe and
Wow.
a little bit in your
Whatever
dick.
it
and-
takes, man.
Yeah, I mean, I've never had a problem getting hard on set, and I'm mostly cast to the bottom. Anytime that I do have trouble and I'm topping, I just ask them to let me eat their ass, and that works like a charm for me.
Yeah.
Actually, it has been really nice. Most of my co-stars, even if I'm just bottoming, will make sure they're ready for me to eat their ass because I really like doing that.
That's sweet.
So you
Right,
like a
yes,
clean
so-
ass then?
Yes.
thank
Yeah, oh
you.
God,
Who
always.
doesn't, Brandon?
Dude,
There are some
You
people.
know.
What?
It's like becoming a thing.
No.
Like,
Oh, it should not. No.
dude, some guys ask me to not like clean my ass.
Whoa.
God bless us. But it bothers me. I don't want to like smell anything either.
Yeah.
And I don't want to have to wash my
Is
sheets
it like
every fucking
primal
night.
and like what is it about?
It's just a surprise thing. Like it
They
wasn't-
were abused as a child. I don't know.
Jesus Christ.
Weren't we all?
Oh.
How
boy.
do you use pop? You use poppers, right?
I use poppers. Those are actually also largely frowned on set.
Why?
I think one because they often not for everyone and not all the time, but they do make it harder to maintain an erection.
Oh,
And
okay.
erections are pretty important on camera.
Yeah, yeah.
I
but
don't
then-
even know if I can have sex without poppers.
Really.
Wow.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's hard for me to bottom without poppers. I'm a wimp though. Like, I probably only get fucked in the ass, let's say, once every week and a half to 2 weeks average. And like, I feel like you really gotta use it or lose it. So,
I feel you on that,
it's
bro.
like I'm a virgin every time I get fucked in the ass, and I'm like,
Yeah,
it
I haven't been
hurts,
fucked in
go
the ass
slow.
since 1972.
Do you ever wear condoms in your scenes?
I think I have only done one scene with condoms, and I was topping for it, which was it was a really
That's
awkward
weird.
scene. It was great because it was with a good friend of mine, and we had a great
Aw.
time. It's actually Twinkie and the Bear.
Yay!
I'm sorry, but
Now
I
I'm
think
excited.
condoms in porn is stupid, right?
Why?
Because you're watching porn, unless it's some
Safe sex
condom
gets me
fetish.
off, man.
Okay, if that's your fetish, fine. But I'm watching porn. It's like fantasy. I want to enter a
I feel
fantasy
you.
realm.
Yeah, yeah.
There's
Yeah.
no condoms in my
Realistically,
fantasy.
when I see a condom, I'm like, oh, I guess.
No, that's pretty much me too. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
this is obviously not like a sanctioned.
Right,
thing.
right.
It's like, especially like that daddy and son porn where like the dad's fucking the
You're
son.
already fucking
It's
your
like,
son.
Yeah,
Why?
you're already fucking your son. Why are you wearing a condom on your son?
There's
your
no
own
protection
son?
emotionally.
Don't want to get him butt pregnant. Like, oh.
My
Oh,
favorite,
butt
I was
baby.
watching it was a mainstream studio that had done like a zombie flick. And all these guys like get gunned down and then come back as zombies and all have sex, but they use condoms. And I'm like, girl, you're a zombie. Like,
Does HIV even flow anymore? That's so great.
your body is one giant open sore. Don't
I
worry
would-
about the condom.
I would love
Oh
to
my God.
make like a funny porn, but it's hard to people don't watch porn for the comedy, but I personally
would.
maybe what I need to do is make a comedy and just have a lot of sex scenes.
Ding.
There we
We're
go.
always like putting that comedy spin on everything we do.
Yeah.
Let's just do like a comedy stand-up special show where we're like naked and getting fucked.
There's already a show.
That sounds
There's a similar enough show.
Can you imagine like us trying to do our like 5-10 minutes while we're getting fucked or something?
Yeah.
100%.
Has that been
can.
done before?
I
Eric?
have had that dream.
Let's do it with Eric.
My girlfriend's always trying out
I'm in.
bits during sex. Like that's to me, I think it can be done. Yeah. It's
I
fun.
hate, but I don't know. Do you guys ever laugh during sex? Like I don't like to
when
laugh.
I want to ruin it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Laughing ruins sex for me too.
When I want to shut it down, I just start laughing hysterically.
Or like when you
Oh,
fart.
no.
I think it depends on what part you're laughing at during sex. Like
The
some things-
orgasm.
Yeah, that would probably be a little bit off, especially if it's their orgasm you're laughing at.
Yeah, look at your fucking face.
Hey, some guys like that humiliation or
Oh
degradation.
yeah, that's
So-
true.
Some guys like it when you make fun of their small dicks or something.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's like, I can understand the fetish there. That's, fine, whatever.
Yeah.
But honestly, like, I don't know. It's a general, like, comfortableness. Like, I've been in a relationship for almost, it's like 2.5, going to be 3 years coming
Ooh.
up.
Happy anniversary.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Aw.
And like, I think it's kind of fun being able to, like, switch between, like, the animalistic, also romantic, like, fuck session with, like, oh my God, that was stupid.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can't believe that
No,
just
exactly that.
happened.
That's
And then be able to like cuddle back up and continue on.
Fuck
with
your
it
best friend or fuck a
Yeah.
good friend. That's
Yeah.
that's the best way to go.
That's-
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's the most rewarding sex I've ever had. so.
Definitely. Well, I had Craigslist sex and that was pretty rewarding. Aside from that, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Different situations, but I'm glad that it helped you out. as
Only
well.
time I've ever come with a guy.
wow. Was
Wow.
Craigslist?
Craigslist guy. Yeah. Shout out to James. Yeah.
Name drop.
He was really sweet. No, we became friends for at least a week. Yeah.
At least 7 days. That's
Yeah,
how it
yeah,
works.
yeah. It's all
That
good.
Black Mirror episode.
Oh my God, do you watch Black Mirror, Eric?
We can't talk about it. A lot of
I
people
don't
haven't
watch.
seen it.
I don't watch a lot of TV, and especially not sort of darker things.
But it's Netflix. It's not TV.
Yeah, okay, I don't watch a lot of things that happen on a screen.
Besides
other
porn.
than porn. But I do find myself very interested in things that happen. So
Okay.
I read Wikipedia entries on Black Mirror, on American Horror
So you
Story.
keep up.
on-
You just don't
Yeah.
worry about the watching
I
the
just
visuals.
can't.
Because that's what I do. I read too, but I watch it too. But I like to read about it. That's my favorite part. Is
I
like,
strongly prefer
yeah.
reading about things to
You're
actually
fucking
watching them.
educated, man.
I'm
I
a
love
lawyer,
it.
you know.
Do you work out?
Yes,
Wait, you say you're a lawyer?
I'm a lawyer.
What? How do we not put aside an hour to just talk about?
Yeah, we've been like only talking about. We only care about the.
Well,
porn
it's not
thing.
your passion, but I'm
That's not
very
my-
impressed.
Thanks.
Yeah,
Wow.
we can make another episode to talk about your
I
non-passion.
should have called you when I got arrested.
Oh yeah.
I would have people to recommend to you, but it's
Okay.
not.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would have sucked any dick at the time. Yeah. Okay. Anyways.
I love it.
So you work out?
I work out every day. My gym membership.
Every day?
Every day.
No way.
But yeah.
Can I just take steroids? Like, I'll do anything to stay out of the gym.
Technically, yeah.
You do, so as I understand it, you do still have to work out with steroids. They just massively
Oh.
improve
So unfair.
your
Right, like diet and
returns.
exercise. You gotta do both.
You really
Yeah,
do.
yeah.
And
Eat
actually,
your
even though,
steroids.
yeah, even those times that I haven't been able to work out every day, I tend to have a pretty basic, like tofu and fake meatballs are like 90% of my
So
diet.
you're kind of I won't say a health nut. You're like a fitness.
God, no.
Okay, so you're healthy. You're
I
healthy.
just happen to be very healthy aside from my rampant
I admire that.
alcohol
Yeah.
and vaping.
Dude, I'm just so bad with my diet, and I'm sure like it's. I'm
You're
probably
so skinny.
well for now. Like people keep telling me my metabolism's gonna shut down soon. I'm just riding my metabolism.
Yeah.
My genetics is like it. That's all I'm like
I
relying
was
on.
You
Good
better
for
start
you.
making
No.
porn before that metabolism slows down.
I gotta do the right thing before it's too late.
I was a former fat kid, and I had to learn how to how to manage my diet.
Yeah,
my
like, you gotta
exercise, whatever,
complete, like,
super
180.
early on, and
Yeah.
I'm kind of grateful because the people that I know who did not have to do that, it ended up catching up much later when
It
their
always
habits
does.
are much more ingrained.
It's not
in
a
them.
matter of like who. It's all of us are susceptible. It's just a matter of like when. So I'm very afraid of my future. I'm so scared.
We'll start making changes
I
now.
know. Katie keeps telling me.
I know.
Yeah.
We
You said
need to
I
learn
know,
to
but
cook
all I
for
heard
each
was
other.
no.
We gotta do it.
Well, okay, let's go back to porn. Boring.
Food porn.
So what are some of your like favorite types of scenes to film, or like do you have any like favorite fetishes, like spanking or something?
So I tend to be a pretty vanilla person, even though that also is a highly subjective word. Yeah, so for some people, they would consider me definitely not a vanilla person.
But to you, by your standards, yeah. I
Well,
get
even to other people, they're like, so for whatever reason, water sports and flogging are super in vogue right now.
Are those sexual
sports?
terms?
Water
the
sports is
Olympics?
pissing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Wait, I missed that.
Water sports is pissing.
You know that.
Donald
I know-
Trump would know.
Ah.
Yeah.
I know flogging.
Yeah.
I like flogging.
Oh,
Flogging
so
Molly's
for,
a good band. Sorry. Go ahead.
for some people, if you're not into those two things, it doesn't matter what else you're into. You're vanilla, like
Exactly, yeah.
because you're not into
The
their
mainstream.
But those are
essentially.
vanilla to you.
Those aren't vanilla to me. I
Oh,
don't.
okay.
I don't. So the only sort of kinky thing that I'm into is felching. Which if
Sorry.
you don't know water sports, you probably don't know felching.
No.
Felching.
Can I guess?
Yeah, let's guess. Let's all guess.
guess.
I have an idea.
You should go first because I have a pretty good
felching
idea.
is when someone's across the room and you run and you smack them. You
Like
slap
smashing,
them.
but
Yeah.
felching.
You're felching.
I think it's when you eat a load out of somebody's ass.
No more calls. We have a winner.
Okay, yeah.
I was
was
so
assuming-
close.
I was akinning it to snowballing.
What's snowballing? I don't know that
I
one.
thought that was I think that's where you actually like someone takes the load in their mouth and they spit it back into.
Well,
someone
hello.
else's.
Can you show us how to do that? Okay, I'm sorry.
Actually,
Let's pause.
my first experience with felching, it was with these guys that I met. We were on a cruise, but they live in Palm Springs, and I love them to death.
You really gotta make sure your ass is clean for
Right?
that.
You
No.
really have to like if you're
just-
getting felched, you have to like absolutely
Better
have
not botch
spent
that,
a
dude.
long time
That's an important one.
getting cleaned up, and certainly if you're topping someone and felching, you really need to trust your bottom.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, trust fall.
You don't want to tear your asshole
Trust
for that
fell.
one either.
That too. No, they were multi-cummers, and so they both came inside of me.
Multi-cummers.
And then one
Never
guy ate it
heard
out,
that.
and then he fed it to me, and then I snowballed the other guy with it.
Oh,
It's
it's
like,
like
a
a-
whole
A
universe.
circle.
was-
A
yeah,
circle
the
of that common.
Circle of
Circle
life.
life with that love.
Oh my god, sperm is life. Guys,
Everyone agrees
we
on
just
that.
found the meaning to life. Felching.
I never get to do it in my scenes. Even when I work for like the kink companies, I'll be like, "Hi, I really like felching," and then
That's your pitch.
yeah, like, "Hey, I know
That's your
I'm not into
greatest
this or this or
strength.
this or this or this, but yeah."
Wow, what can you bring to the company?
This is what this
The con-
podcast has been missing is felching.
Oh, we've been missing
Everybody-
Eric, dude.
yeah.
If I will be felching someone in the background of all of your podcasts. I have no problem.
Oh
with
my
that.
god, that's like photobombing at its highest level.
Just like when we're videoing,
Right.
just like in the background, like
That won't get us
Where's
a Facebook
Waldo
fan.
felching?
But we blur it out. We blur out the private
Oh
part.
yeah.
Hey,
Like
so,
Japanese porn.
so I know you're a doggy enthusiast and lover. I think
It's so off topic.
I think Moose, my dog, loves you more than me when you come
Aw,
over. You're like
yeah.
Uncle Eric.
Yay.
Yeah. But are you into pup play at all? I'm
Oh
the one
my
brought up the
God.
doggy.
Wow.
No, pup
That
play.
escalated quickly.
It's not what you think it is. Pup
Oh,
play
okay.
is this whole
No, it has nothing to do with
Oh, okay.
bestiality, which is actually a really important distinction to make at the beginning of that topic.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes,
Yeah.
good point.
He's not fucking my dog.
The transition wasn't smooth, Brandon.
Dogs puppy play.
I'm into pup play. I've done very little of it sexually.
Uh-huh.
Like I do have a puppy tail / butt plug.
Oh, like
I have
a
one too, but I've
Snapchat
never
filter
used it.
kind of thing.
Oh, I think we talked about that a long time ago.
We did.
Third camera,
Right? Oh,
I
it's like
posted
like furries. Like is it like that? But like more stripped down?
Way more stripped down. So
Okay.
furries tend to have actual fur suits and
Right.
fursonas.
Yeah. Oh.
That which is sort of an alternate them, and
Right.
it's not my fetish, so I don't want to speak too much on it.
Fair
but as
enough,
I
yeah.
understand it, it's just an alternate version.
Right,
of
like
myself.
an alter
Subculture.
ego kind of thing. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly,
But you're
exactly.
being you as a pup in this.
Yeah,
sense.
I mean, I really identify with any sort of.
Dog, basically. Because Katie's like that. No, really, her spirit animal must be a dog. Like I see it.
I was
She's-
going to say like otter. He's always posting otters
Oh
on
yeah.
Well, I mean, also, and otters are nature's adorable little serial killers.
Yep.
You otter
They're my
play.
favorite. They're my favorite
I
animal.
love them, but they are
Otters
vicious
the best.
motherfuckers.
I love it.
And I
They're
also,
so cute and they'll hold hands you, but they'll fuck you up. Like,
No, I really identify with how much dogs love you.
Yeah.
And I like making people happy, and dogs are very easy to make
They're
very,
people
very happy.
pleasers. So
Yeah.
if you are one yourself, you're like best buds. Like
Yeah,
they're so
you're just-
in tune with happiness.
And so engaging in pup play sexually is more like
It's loyalty.
having that loyalty, having that.
Oh my god.
A lot of it is dogs sort of rely on us to provide structure for them,
Mm-hmm.
and it is really nice, even sexually, to have someone else
Tell
provide.
you what to do.
Yes, to even give you reassurance.
That's cute.
Good boy,
Like the baby
do
play,
this,
like when you're
good
pretending
boy.
to be a baby, like the
Yeah,
same thing. Yeah,
which is
I'm
not.
guilty of
I'm
that.
not super into that, but I understand where they're
I'll do
coming
it for
from.
a few seconds. I'll do a little coup.
Yeah.
Coup for you.
I'll cool for you.
No, they take it
I
too
got-
far. They like to wear diapers and like.
Yeah, that budget
Soil
is out of my
themselves.
range. There, I
Diapers,
can't
you
afford
are
diapers.
Black and brown in this
Food
podcast.
stamps
Is
don't
there
cover
something you want to tell us, Brandon?
No. We don't need to talk
He
about.
sounds
scat.
fascinated
I
by.
love it.
I'm fascinated by the pup play stuff.
It's very interesting. Yeah.
I would like, maybe that's one of my other goals for 2018 is to engage in that more sexually.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I was-
Resolutions.
When I was at the place in Hillcrest where you can buy that stuff,
Oh.
like all the there's like bone gags and like some people wear
Wow.
like dog hoods.
So they're
and stuff
really-
like
It's
that.
fucking.
They're
hot.
all in it. Like
It's
capitalism
hot.
has caught up to it.
and
Like,
I was impressed. I was like, you know what, I gotta get that.
just try it, right?
Just
Don't knock
a
it
little
till you.
collar. I
I
already
think
know
the
I want a
butt
ball
plugs
gag.
with the
so-
tails are adorable.
That sounds cute. That
What?
just sounds like something I get for
It's a
Christmas.
butt plug, but with the tail.
Oh, I think
on
those
the
are
end
so
of it.
cute. Yes,
I have
ones-
one. I
Ones with
asked-
little diamonds too. I like
Yeah.
those.
Like
I
a
just
shake a
bought
little tail
one of
feather.
those, actually.
Oh really?
Yeah, well,
Oh.
because Valentine's Day is coming up, and so I bought one with a little heart on the end.
Oh,
so.
dude, you're thinking ahead. Very nice. I'm gonna
Yes.
break up with Carla before Valentine's Day, so I don't have to get her anything.
Well, now I know what
Back
I'm getting for
together.
Valentine's Day.
You gotta get Carla something. She's not gonna have anything.
Get her flowers.
No, we actually haven't
Literally
celebrated.
flowers.
Our last Valentine's Day celebration was a threesome, and that was like 2 years
That's a
ago.
pretty good.
That's pretty
Celebration.
It was all right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Just
it was-
kidding then.
No, I mean like it was her friend, so I like left the room for a minute, then came back, and I was like, still.
I think if you can have that moment, like it's pretty close to compersion. I'm a really psychotically jealous person, so
Yeah, same.
I have a hard time with that. But
Right.
that's
But
actually
you'll
one of
do
the other
it.
things that I'm work.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, God knows, I will fuck anyone for anything.
Hey.
But certainly to make my partner happy, there's not a whole lot
Absolutely.
of people
Yeah,
that can
yeah.
do.
So
You'll try anything once or twice.
Are in your relationships? Are you mostly like monogamous? Like, do you ever get in a situation where you want to be monogamous with them, but they want to sleep with other people's, and they're like, well, you do porn for a living, so I should be able to sleep around too. Does that ever happen?
That was exactly the conversation that I had with that partner who said you can't cheat on a sex worker.
Oh, I can see how it got pretty heated.
And this is where I was not being, like, I wasn't thinking ahead there, unfortunately, not enough. Because we had an arrangement. I had previously done strict monogamy, and then I went back and forth on open, closed with another partner.
Right.
And I thought for me it would work really well to have us only play together.
Yeah.
And it did work really well for
Right.
me. Unfortunately, I
were
tend to
lacking
be, I tend to be Cassie from A Chorus Line.
Okay.
Like, I can't help but, like, the spotlight is just going to gravitate towards
I'm
me.
the same
Like,
way. I can relate to that.
I think
yeah.
anyone in the entertainment industry is going to be very similar to that. Like, we just have,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
we have big
Yeah,
personalities.
We're
Right,
attention
yeah.
whores, really.
Yeah, and it's hard. It can be hard for someone who's not
Right.
there
Yeah.
to get an equal amount of attention or feel like they're getting all of their needs met,
Right.
or whatever, when we're the star of every show that we're in. So I hadn't thought about that, and then also, I mean, I was still a sex worker at the time. That's actually the time that I was only doing sex work, and I'm very grateful to it for paying my rent as well as that boyfriend's.
Yeah. So thinking back, do you feel like a little bit of like I would have done it differently, but mostly you're pretty at peace with it? Like
I would like, and the last guy that I dated, my guideline for us is I would like us to try to play together. If they're, you know what, people get drunk, people are out of town, people, whatever, things happen. Like,
right, but for the most part, put the effort in.
I want you to think about me. I
focus
want
on
you
us.
to want me there because I
and
want
that's
you
so
there.
understandable.
Like,
that's what a
You just want to
relationship
be
is.
included.
Yeah, it's like
You don't want to feel left out. That's understandable.
Yeah. It's being true to like the core of your relationship. You may have like acquaintances sexually, but there's that root, and there's a reason why it's a root because you do the most with with it.
Have you been in a situation where you start dating somebody that maybe hasn't done porn and then they want to start doing porn? Would that make you jealous?
no, I would be super happy to date another sex worker. Like,
So
that
you're
would make
jealous,
me-
but not necessarily across the board jealous. You have like so
no,
you're not jealous
and
at all.
I'm psychotically jealous.
Okay, yeah.
Psychotically,
But not like-
I will still wake, like, after that one boyfriend cheated on me. It was like a year later, and I was still waking up in the middle of the night with pulsing balls of rage in my chest over it. Yeah.
So you're cool with being open. You just have certain maybe rules or limitations that like you.
Yeah,
fall-
like I
okay,
understand
yeah.
that sex happens. I don't think for where I am right now I could do the completely open relationship that like some of my friends have. Where,
Right.
Like, I will go and visit them, and one or the other or the third or something will
It's
be
just-
like, I'm going to take him upstairs and fuck him now. And the other two will be like, great, we're just going to be here watching
You need more loyalty. You need a
watching
little-
Dark Mirror.
Right. Dude, I feel you on that. Like I'm pretty much cool with the idea of being open because I think that's very natural and human, and I'm guilty of wanting it every now and then. But I'm also extremely jealous, like just always.
I understand that my partner is going to want, especially if they're not a sex worker, they're going to want solo adventures, and I want to figure out
how to make it work.
How to make that work.
Yeah,
how to make
Everyone's
them feel
different,
comfortable
yeah.
and like they are still their own person and are getting their needs met, but at the same time, like I said, the times that I've actually been the least jealous, and this is the part that's weird for a lot of people, is if they have like an old fuck buddy, or if they have almost a side boyfriend. Like I'm fine
You're cool with
I'm
that?
totally fine with that. I
Wow,
don't.
very interesting.
Yeah.
Most people would be very uncomfortable.
They're
with
the
that.
opposite.
Yeah. So
is
it's
it
just get to know
because of
yourself.
a trust thing? Like you just trust that it's like an even balance of.
Been there, done that kind of thing. Like
You know, I don't really know. I'm not really like so I think it's because I'm not worried about them falling in love. Like if
Okay.
they fall in love with this other person, and they want to go be with them, and like I don't want
They
to,
would have
I don't want
already.
to keep them from that.
Oh,
Like,
so you're saying either way?
Yeah, either way. Like I'm fine.
Oh.
I'm fine with that.
Oh,
like,
I'm way more jealous than you. Yeah, I'm like, no,
Oh,
if I can't have
finally
you, I'm
met
shutting
someone,
this whole
yay.
thing down. Yeah, I struggle with that, but I want to be more like you. Honestly, I think that's the idea, is that you want to be so secure. The way that when you're happy about anything, having a good day, no one can bring you down. I want to be so secure in my relationship that no sexual no sexual like deviances or whatever like could bring me down. Like if you want to fuck someone that you were with before, or that's hotter than me, or any of that, I want to be so happy that it doesn't matter. But I don't know if I can always achieve that. It's just my goal.
I think even super open relationships, most of them will
right?
tell you there's there's still a little bit of jealousy. And you just learn how to manage
You just
that.
find a way to
how
contain
communicate
it, just
that.
like
You learn-
anything in a relationship, right? Yeah, you find a way to make it work.
Yeah.
Brandon, you had...
Are you on? So you're single now, right?
Yes.
Okay. Are you on any dating apps? Or what do you call it? Are you on Grindr?
I am on Grindr.
Okay, it's one of the credits.
Are you on
We'll make
Scruff?
sure.
I'm on Scruff.
Are you on Squirt?
I'm not on Squirt.
What about Jacked?
Are
No,
these
the only,
real?
The only,
Yes, they're real.
Oh my god.
The
Are you on
Close-minded
Scissor?
bigot.
the only two apps that I'm on are Grindr and Scruff, and really I would like to get rid of Grindr. I don't find that has a very...
It's such a waste of time.
It's just a really unhelpful user interface. Like, the entire way the app is constructed is really hard. I don't feel like you can really tell people about yourself. So I don't feel
That's
like you can
fair.
really learn
It's
anything
just
about other
so
people.
sex driven.
It's just to trade like hole and dick pics.
Exactly. When you're looking for it though, great. When you want something more, you're right. It's never gonna be that. It'll always feel like it's lacking. So I can
That
relate.
being said, I have met some really wonderful, amazing people
Very cool.
on Grindr that I've never met anywhere else before.
Now that's
and-
lucky, because that's not what you would think would
No.
happen. That's very lucky. I dig it. So your best relationships, would you say, happened from Grindr, or just like some really good ones?
No, I think only one relationship happened off of Grindr.
Okay, but the best were like, or the most memorable were probably more organic, I guess.
I'm trying to think. So
Do you meet
first-
a lot of guys that recognize you for your videos?
Not enough.
No. Yeah.
But I don't believe in enough, so until I'm getting fan
Do you
mail
ever
every
have
day.
somebody send you fan mail like, oh my god, you're so hot, I want to fuck you so bad, and you're like, come over.
I do get some fan mail on Twitter, and yeah, I make that offer. I'm like, girl, come to San Diego, like we will fuck.
Oh, do you have fans that fly out to see you?
I have, but actually they were clients from my escorting. I actually have some thank you notes saved at home from clients, which is an awesome feeling. And then when I made my return to the stage, one of my clients flew out from Kentucky and brought front row tickets for every night of the show and sent me gift baskets for every night of the show.
Aww.
And yeah, I was like,
That's really cool.
Me and Jaleesa have never gotten anything like that.
Nothing close.
it was amazing, honestly. Like,
That's
it's just
amazing.
a really
Yeah,
sweet
definitely.
gesture on his part.
I wish I could meet somebody that wants to fuck me for my jokes.
Hey, keep hope alive, man. He's out there, Brandon.
All right, well, we're running out of time. I want to
Yeah.
get to your nonprofit. We really haven't talked much about that, but it's called Sex Workers Resource Network.
That is correct, and we are a registered 501c3.
Nice.
And this, I started it because I knew that I wanted to work in the nonprofit sector, but most of the other things that I think I wanted to do there was already something there.
Right,
And so I was
right.
sort of thinking of what was missing.
Filling
and
that void, yeah.
so to speak. And also at the time I knew, he was a good friend of mine, and he actually got me into escorting, in the sense that he told me about what site to use and
How to stay safe and all that kind of
yeah,
thing.
well, and he encouraged me, again, that sort of self-doubt that we were talking about. It took me a while to put up an ad. One, because I was worried about family and work and all of these all the sort of social stigma surrounding it.
Yeah.
But then also, I thought that no one would pay for me.
Knowing your worth is a big issue, in this kind of craft.
Yeah, and it's really hard to put yourself. I've talked to other people who want to do it, and they're like, "Oh, but I wouldn't get any clients." I'm like, "Girl, trust me, you will."
We all have the same fears. No one thinks they can pull in an audience until someone does. Someone has to do it. It could be you. It could easily be you.
There's an ass for every seat, as my
Absolutely. There's an audience for everyone.
Yes,
Totally.
exactly. He unfortunately did not like escorting. He was young and thin, and so he got a decent amount of work from it.
Right.
But he hated doing it, and he would often get blackout drunk before a client.
Just to deal with it.
And I thought that was so tragic.
Yeah, it's like getting drunk before a show and thinking it's not going to become a bad habit. You got to find better ways to go.
Yeah. And at the same time, I've also known other people who were very happy being sex workers, but for 90% of us, we do age out of the industry.
Like anything,
the age has expanded as the diversity has increased in the industry, but it's still something.
What do you do when you age out of porn? Go back to school.
Porn commentary.
So this is something that's why I started this, as I wanted to. Currently, our current model for what the organization is we provide resources.
Jaleesa chokes on a bomb.
We don't provide bongs, but we do provide resources that are worker friendly. So we don't want to send people, and we have links on there for people to help manage their funds. We have people, we have psychological help. In-house, we actually offer career counseling so that people can help try and figure out what other than sex work they want to do with their life and the steps to take to go through that. And then currently, we actually just started producing, was having a really hard time with outreach for whatever reason, but I found that when I would talk to other stars on set, they were very open to it. So we actually started producing our own porn scenes that are worker-centered, and they are both sort of outreach to talk to people. And also, I want to make a shift in our culture and have people stop seeing sex workers as just dicks and holes. I want them to know that we're lawyers. I want them to know that we have passions outside of this. I want them to know that we're comedians. I want them to know, and I want to make it easier for people who are in the industry to eventually move out or have it be, for some people, they can make a total living off this and they can save for retirement, and that is marvelous.
That is, man, I'm like about to start crying right now. And when my whole pic eventually does leak out to the media, it won't be a big deal.
It should, none of this should be. It should be fine for people to have this as a side job or a main job for however long they want to have it. And
wow, that is so amazing. That's a great. I want to donate to it. It's a great organization, Sex Workers Resource Network, also known as SWORN. You can check them out. www.swornusa.org, and I know they're always accepting donations.
We're always accepting
donations.
Cause, We're redoing the website right now. Don't judge too harshly. Thanks.
That's seriously, I think one of the greatest things that just sex workers would want to pursue. Like you having always worked in sex workers and being a sex worker, all that stuff. Like providing that kind of service is so important because we had spoken a little bit about the changing the culture of society as a whole, just realizing that having sex, whether it be for pleasure, personal, or business, is your own business. And we should be able to talk about it without people being like, oh my God, you're in some drug den, you're probably crazy.
We all gotta fuck at some point. Somebody fucked it.
We talk about sex a lot in this podcast, and specifically sex positivity. I've noticed, when you mentioned that, I was like, wow, yeah, this is one of my favorite episodes because this is exactly what we've been talking about, but it gets into a part of it that we haven't discussed, which is the professional side of it. We've talked a lot of personal sex positivity, but this is so big.
Unprofessional.
We've been very unprofessional. Yeah, but no, this is one of my favorites just because it's a part that I think is one of the best parts of sex positivity is being able to own it in such a way that's profitable. I know it's not all about money. You're living your dream and you're making that's the best thing you could ask for.
So far, I'm hoping to make my nonprofit be my day job sometime this year.
Dude, I believe
that can happen. I'll be living the dream.
You're already on the right track for that, and you know all about this, being that you had a business before. You know what it takes and what it's like, and you're prepared. I believe in you, Eric.
I listened to Star. I took that advice to heart.
Eric.
This is so cool what you're doing, man, and thanks so much for coming and talking about it. Legitimately, this is
talk about this shit all day long.
I'm just, there's so much more I want to get into, but we're out of time. Oh my God.
We gotta have you back sometime.
I love that. That'd be awesome.
I want him back, but all of us wearing less clothing.
We can make it happen.
God knows
that can be
do
arranged.
That.
That's fine with me. I'm totally cool with that. But thank you, Eric/Dusty.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for having me on.
To have
Where can we find you on the interwebs?
You have to do a search for Dusty Williams porn, because if you do a search for Dusty Williams, a bunch of rando guys named Dusty Williams come up.
And you're on everything, right? I know you're on Facebook and Twitter.
Right.
Are you on Tumblr?
I'm on Tumblr, although my Tumblr is mostly other people and puppy dogs.
Okay.
Real puppy dogs, not my kind of puppy dog.
No worries. But Dusty Williams porn is the best
do a Google search for Dusty Williams porn and
up.
everything should come out.
Very nice. I love it. I have to do Jaleesa Johnson comedy. I Google myself. And otherwise you get all these black chicks from who knows where. But yeah, I love it. Thank you so much.
Thank
Eric,
you guys very much for having me on.
Yeah.
This was awesome.
This was awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Hey.
Do you want a quick cum shot before? Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah, we should take a video.
Cue the music, Matt.
Huge thanks to Eric Fager. This was episode 8. If you love this episode, please consider subscribing in iTunes and finding us on Facebook. please leave an iTunes review in the form of a haiku, and I'll read it on the show. I'm your producer, Matt McCoy. Your hosts are Brandon Potter, Lisa Johnson, and Katie Hinckley. Let Me Put My Pants On is recorded in University Heights, San Diego. Thank you so much for listening. We will be back in 1 week.